You are what they hear. Why are non-verbal cues important? It's not just your words and the tone that contribute to the effectiveness of your call. Your non-verbal cues are also very important. The research I mentioned before also suggests that people notice subtle differences in your voice based on the non-verbal cues you're giving off. And the differences come through even if they cannot see you and are simply listening to your voice. This means that your non-verbal cues can be just as important as your tone, even when the customer does not see you. Your physical presence, posture, and gestures, as well as your pair of verbals, as well as paired with your verbals, including the tone and pace of your voice, are making an impact on the outcome of the call. So, say I was doing this training and I was talking very monotone and I was slouched and you just wouldn't learn from it. It's just not inviting. So think of that as well. It's part of why we still do things like gesture, change our facial expressions, and change our stance when we're on the phone. If you've been here long enough, you'll notice that Ben, when he's on the phone, walks a lot. That's just how he sort of gets his non-verbal cues out. That's how he does. He walks around, and that way he can put that energy into the call. People respond best to upbeat and genuine tones, and your caller is more likely to respond positively and feel taken care of when you're showing patience, kindness, and genuine enthusiasm with your words and non-verbal cues. So remember, even if your callers can't see you, they'll be able to hear if you give them an air high five, as you both celebrate what you've done to fix their issue or concern. So non-verbal cues are presented in the way you type. It's just as important to be mindful of the way you type as it is the way you talk. Another study suggests that it's more difficult to detect non-verbal cues and mood through written communication rather than verbal. So your word choice and punctuation are key to determining the meaning of what you say. It's also important to pay attention to the way your customer is typing and trying to determine their mood. But remember, do not make assumptions about the customer's intelligence or learning level based on the way that they type, such as typos or grammatical issues. It can be more difficult to control the way a customer interprets what you say through text rather than through, say, over the phone or even in person. But keeping things simple and professional is a great way to get your message across and help your customers feel satisfied and informed. Okay, so now you've learned the importance of non-verbal cues in writing. Here are some tips for success. Just like verbal communication, don't forget to stay polite and professional. Avoid using all caps. That can look like you're yelling. Don't overuse punctuation. For instance, it's okay to use an exclamation point for emphasis or to express excitement, but using 3 is excessive and increases the likelihood of a misunderstanding. Proofread your messages before sending and imagine you're reading them in a bad mood. I always do this. If you see something you think that could escalate the situation, revise it to make your intentions clearer. And if you need to, get someone else to read over it if you think that the message may be misinterpreted wrong. I always get Ben to look over them because he says that my emails seem to have a bit of a abruptness to them, which sometimes can be interpreted as rudeness. So I just always get someone to proofread my emails just to make sure. Remember, you're there to help, and all text-based communications you should send reflect this to the customer.